Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today. I'm Corey Berber-Salazar, District Attorney for San Joaquin County, and today my office has filed charges against the defendant. Just for procedural purposes, I'll be making an initial statement, and then I'll ask Liliana to come up and also read a statement in Spanish for us as well. And then Josh will also be up here, Jackson from ATF, to give a statement, and then we'll take a few Q&As. The defendant has been charged with the following: 3 counts of murder, 1 count of possession of a firearm by a felon, 1 count of possession of ammunition by a felon, in regards to 3 of the victims at this point. That is Jonathan Hernandez, 21, who was killed on August 30th. Juan Cruz, 52, killed on September 21st. Lawrence Lopez, 54, killed on September 27th. There are 2 more murder victims in an attempted murder. We will be making further charging decisions in relation to those cases in the next coming weeks. As you know, this investigation is moving rapidly. Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m., we brought the suspect into custody. It's been a short window of time for us to process all of the information and evidence we have, but we are working around the clock. We charged the cases today because we believe we have sufficient evidence to pursue these charges and prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. We are also confident that additional charges will be added. We would like to remind the public that this investigation is ongoing, and in no way does our charging determination today end or conclude this investigation. We have more work to do. We are still dedicating valuable resources to uncovering the truth and to hold this defendant accountable. My office has been in communication with the families. I had the privilege of meeting them this afternoon. Each of these families and their victims, their loved ones that they have lost, we will continue to support them through this very difficult process. I offer my sincere condolences. No family should have to endure what they are currently going through. I understand that the public is searching for answers, just like these families. Please know we will not be able to share certain pieces of information in order to maintain the integrity of the case and ultimately ensure justice is obtained for these grieving families. Per Stockton Police Department, officers arrested the defendant approximately 1:30 a.m. on Saturday morning. This was an individual law enforcement had identified as a person of interest. Due to their investigative skills, hard work, and dedication to public safety, and through the assistance of information from the community, they were able to make a determination. Based upon the pattern of behavior that they witnessed, they were able at that time to arrest the suspect in this case. A firearm was found in the defendant's possession of a similar caliber of the weapon used in the 5 homicides here and the 6th in Oakland. Police quickly shared the gun with ATF, and the amount of work that they did in partnership with us is amazing. We can confirm with high confidence the same gun was used in the 3 homicides that I'm charging you with today. There are some people who are just simply too dangerous to share the streets with you and I. Rest assured, my administration will prosecute the defendant to the full extent of the law to ensure the safety of our community and other communities like ours who may have been victimized by this defendant. I would like to extend my gratitude to the men and women of the Stockton Police Department. The capture of the defendant would not have been possible without the countless hours and investigative skill shown by the department. Thank you, Chief. Deputy Chief Nance, Lieutenant Brad Burrell, Captain Lane, PIO and Detective Joey Silva, and so many others worked on this case, hundreds of people, and particularly those officers and partners in law enforcement that were on the street fighting and figuring out this crime. knocking on doors, accumulating evidence, you name it, they did it. And so I can't name them all because it's in the hundreds, but please know that each and every one of them is appreciated by not only me and my office, but this entire community. So thank you, Chief, for the work that you've done here. To our fellow law enforcement partners across this county, across the state, and at the federal level, including ATF, who generously donated an additional $25,000 to the reward and provided amazing resources for us to ensure that this suspect would be in custody in a swift amount of time. To the Bureau of Investigations for answering the call of SPD and assisting in the tip line, investigative resources, and all the hours brought forth, including our partnership with the sheriff. To the prosecuting attorneys in this case, Chief Deputy District Attorney Robert Himmelblau, Supervising District Attorney Caitlin Casey, and Deputy District Attorney Elton Grau, for their dedication and around-the-clock response to this crime and every other crime that we fight every day. In particular, I want to thank the public. Stockton heard the call, and the residents of this great city answered. Hundreds of tips a day came through the hotline. This case is a prime example of why trust in law enforcement is so crucial to public safety. We trusted law enforcement, and law enforcement trusted the community, and together that trust led to the arrest and apprehension of this defendant. We simply cannot protect our communities without support from our community. And we are grateful to everyone who provided tips that led to this arrest and now the prosecution. We are grateful to all. As the district attorney here, it is my job to ensure the integrity and the ethics and the professionalism of this case. As so, today we'll be providing you with information. Going forward, we'll update you as to additional charges that may be coming forward. And at that point, we'll be limiting the amount of information that we can release to the public in order to ensure that we're not trying this case in the public forum, but instead in a courtroom where it belongs. So I ask for your patience and understanding in knowing that going forward, we will be limiting the ability to share information. At this point, I'd like to introduce Liliana to come up and read a statement, please.
Buenas tardes. Hoy la fiscal del Distrito del Condado de San Joaquín, Tori Berber Salazar, anunció los cargos iniciales contra el acusado Wesley Brownlee de 40.
You're just listening to this remarks there in Spanish. Again, he was only been charged so far with those 3 murder charges there, the district attorney against Wesley Brownlee, an alleged serial killer. Therefore, the most recent victims in Stockton. He hasn't been charged in 2 other deadly Stockton shootings and 1 in Oakland. But as you heard there, the district attorney says they're continuing to investigate this case and possibly, likely, could bring forth more charges against Wesley Brownlee. Of course, this is accused serial killer has a criminal history and lost his brother to gun violence in Oakland, suffered psychological stress. According to court records from the past, Wesley Brownlee, 43, arrested on Saturday by Stockton police for those 6 different shootings. Of course, investigators said Brownlee was found driving around with a gun and mask, quote, on a mission to kill, and again, quote, was out hunting for another victim. Brownlee was born in San Francisco, but grew up in Oakland. His childhood home, just a few blocks from where Oakland victim Juan Miguel Vasquez Serrano was killed in April of 2021. Court records shed light on Brownlee's family and mental state, first reported by the East Bay Times. Documents obtained by Fox 2 KTVU show he is one of his mother's 6 children with a criminal history that dates back decades. In May 1994, at age 14, he was accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl along with 2 other boys. Documents say he denied the allegation and instead accused his friends. Later that year, records show he was arrested and accused of selling cocaine to an undercover officer. He was put on house arrest as a juvenile. And there are much more details going back. I want to continue to listen in to see if we can hear more remarks here on Live Now from Fox.
En la investigación y detención del sospechoso. Además, la oficina
Of course, it is still currently in Spanish, but we're giving you as many details as we can about this ongoing investigation, as he's expected to be in court arraigned for the first time here on Tuesday after being arrested on Saturday by Stockton police. Going back to some previous records, actually now the district attorney is back up at the podium, so we want to continue to listen in here on Live Now from Fox.
Good afternoon. My name is Joshua Jackson. I'm an assistant special agent in charge with ATF assigned to the San Francisco Field Division, currently sitting as the acting special agent in charge for our division. ATF and Stockton PD have a long history of working partnerships, and this partnership and working together is no different in this investigation. Specific to this investigation, some of the resources that ATF brought to bear: ATF special agents, ATF task force officers, ATF and intelligence research specialists. These professionals were able to develop crime gun intelligence to pass back to the investigative team. Specifically to crime gun intelligence, something that was extensively used throughout this investigation was ATF's National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, NIBIN. We use NIBIN to help solve some of these shooting events. It allows us to connect shooting events that may appear to be isolated and unrelated. Allows us to connect those, coordinate additional resources so that we can pull our resources together and treat it as an all-hands-on-deck approach in reducing violent crime. And that was experienced very much so in this investigation. Allows us to identify those who are responsible for shooting events. It also allows us to stop shooting events from occurring in the future when we act as a team in a partnership as we did in this investigation. This investigation is not over. We're moving into the criminal adjudication phase at this moment, and it's going to take a lot of work during that as well. ATF is going to remain a partner to Stockton PD and the San Joaquin District Attorney's Office throughout that. And last and most importantly, I definitely want to notice and make note to the family and friends and the community at large who are hurting. We understand you're hurting, you're grieving, to your lost ones you lost, and also to folks that were injured in this series of violent and senseless acts that occurred. We hope that these arrests and these announcements help let you all know that we are not getting off the gas. We are moving into this next phase, the criminal adjudication phase, so we'll be successful and make sure justice is done. And those who are responsible for this, the person responsible for this, is held accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Also today, often we think about the defendant and what the charges are and what's going forward with that. But today in our office, in my office, it's equally important that we're taking care of these families. So they are working with our victim witness, thank you Liliana and Gabby, our Family Justice Center, and now we have our support group down working with them as well, because we want to make sure that they understand that we're here to support them through this journey, and that we will be by them, right by their side throughout it. So today is also about telling you about what's going to go happen procedurally from the criminal justice arm, but we're also going to let you know that we are taking very good care of these families with every tool and resource we have. Here in San Joaquin County, in particular here in Stockton, this individual thought he could come to our community and do harm. It's not in our house. You do not get to come into our house and do this kind of crime and this kind of harm and not think that SPD is not going to bring the rain down on you and find you and hold you fully accountable. And they did that, just that, in partnership with this community. But as we move forward, we need further partnership, and that's from our community-based organizations to help this entire community heal. As Joshua was saying, the victims, the survivors, the families, unimaginable what they're going through. But also as a community, we have suffered under the reign of this terror. So today, we're going to move forward, and we're going to use every tool and resource, every investigative opportunity we have, every best evidence practice, and also every tool we can in healing these families and this community. With that, I'll take a couple questions.
This man is still a mystery. Can you tell us anything about who he is and why he did this?
All I can tell you is that we know that he was a truck driver, and recently moved to Stockton this past summer.
Big rig trucks?
I believe so. He's interstate traffic trucker.
Any relationships, a family, a wife, a partner?
He does have some family in the community, not very many.
Are you able to tell us about the 3 other homicides, 2 in Stockton and 1 in Oakland? What is it at this point that's holding up charging him in those? I thought that the ballistics connected all 7 of the incidents, the 1 survivor and the 6 murders.
We're waiting for additional evidence to be processed through that will most likely, we believe, will allow us the opportunity to add those additional charges. But when we go to court, we are ethically bound to only charge based upon the evidence that we have in front of us and that we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. For background purposes, a defense attorney could go time not waived today and we would have to prelim this case in 10 days. So when I charged today, or our team charged the case last night and this morning, we have to do based on what we have right here in front of us at this moment. We're only 4 days into this. So you have to understand that there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of reports, maybe even thousands of reports in this case, before we have a full visual of what we're dealing with. So charges will be amended as time goes on. It's just going to take a little bit more time.
Are all 7 incidents still connected by ballistics? Is that still true?
Yes.
So with the 3 others that have not been charged and the 1 attempted homicide, do you think this gun was used? I mean, it was still connected by ballistics. I'm just wondering, like, what the holdup is specifically with evidence that the 3 cases had, that these 4 other ones didn't, if it was all connected to ballistics.
There's additional evidence that we've been able to ascertain through the great work of these detectives here in Stockton Police Department, and that evidence allowed us to move forward on 3 cases today. We believe it will allow us to move forward on the remaining counts. We're just waiting for that information to be fully processed.
And for that 7th incident, for the woman who did survive this, I didn't hear talk about that in the courtroom, and I haven't heard yet about that 1 attempted case. How will that be involved with all of this? So far, we have the 3 homicides that are charged and the 3 that we're waiting to charge on. What about the survivor case?
And she's also, the attempted murder is also pending additional information.
Will the report be given out in this case?
That's a determination that wasn't covered by my office, but that is being looked at right now as we speak for the individuals that did assist us with Claire and gave us a tremendous amount of assistance.
Is there a home address for him? Do you know where he lived at this time? Well, in the city, did he live in Stockton? Do you have a physical address?
He lived in Stockton, yes.
Is this a death penalty case, or will it be?
It's a special circumstance case. So when he was charged with 3 counts of murders, he also has the enhancement for being a felon in possession of ammunition, but also the use of a weapon in 1222.53 in the commission. Those are all either enhancements, but the one that allows it to be a consideration for a life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty is the special circumstance. And that special circumstance is under the Penal Code Section 190.2, and it reflects multiple murders.
Were any of these considered hate crimes because some of the victims were of the same race?
We're looking into that. That's still part of the ongoing investigation, and that there is a potential there could be additional charges in that arena as well. So we're developing that evidence.
How do you reassure the public that is still fearful out there that perhaps there's someone else out there, another serial killer? There was a homicide this morning that San Joaquin County Sheriffs were at, and people were posting on social media, he's still out there, the serial killer is still going at, what do you say to those folks?
We reached out to the sheriff's office this morning. There is no connection or correlation between any of the incident or the evidence that occurred in the early morning unfortunate taking of another community member's life. We believe beyond a reasonable doubt that we have the right suspect in custody. We wouldn't charge the case if we didn't have sufficient evidence to believe that is true and correct. So we believe we have the person responsible. At this point, we're going to proceed on the 3 that we have, and I'm very, very positive that in the near future you'll be hearing of additional charges as well.
And in court today, it was revealed that there was cellular data connecting the suspect to at least these 3 murders. Is he connected with cellular data to all of these cases?
It's an ongoing investigation, Kurt. We're developing every lead we can. These officers have been working nonstop for the last 90 days, and we've been working every angle that we possibly can. So we will go over this case with a fine-tuned, comb, and we will make sure that no stone is unturned, and that we will follow any leads that it takes us. But at this point, I have no doubt that we have the suspect in custody.
Was this a ghost gun?
We're not going to comment on that right now.
Well, it was announced in court today.
Okay, all right.
That it was a ghost gun. Was the ghost gun used in all of the cases here?
I'm just going to say it was a weapon that was used. It's a polymer. It's going to we'll make that final determination. But yes, if the information has been released to you, then we'll discuss it.
Did he know any of the victims personally?
We're not going to go into that kind of detail today. This is an ongoing investigation, and we're continuing to develop it. And
you said he's not from Stockton. Where is he? What's his connection to Stockton?
We believe his primary area of region was in Oakland area, in the Bay Area, but he was recently just relocated to here.
Do you know anything about his past criminal history with ties to Alameda County and Oakland, and if any mental health issues play a part in all of this?
I'm sorry, I'm just going to...
We're not going to comment on mental health. We've had a suspect in custody for 4 days, so there's no way we can make any determination in regards to that. He has a prior criminal history, which was mentioned in the charging document. He is a felon, and he's a felon in possession. Those are drug-related offenses, and they originate out of Oakland, Alameda County.
Over communicating, can you say if the photo of the handgun that was released by police and your team, is that the ghost gun that has connected to the 3 charged homicides? Is this all the same gun we're looking at and talking about? I just want to over-communicate that so we're all on the same page.
Go ahead and repeat your question, please.
So the photo that was released of that handgun earlier on in the investigation, is that the same handgun that was found on his person when he was arrested? Is that the same handgun that is a ghost gun that's connected to the 3 homicides that are being charged? Is this all the same firearm?
So I can tell you right now is a photograph of the gun in the picture was what was on him when he was arrested, and we're still doing additional ballistic evidence as far as its interconnectivity of the cases.
But that is the murder weapon?
That's still part of the investigation that we're continuing.
Chief, do you believe that there are more cases than just the 7 out there right now?
Well, we're going to stay tenacious. We don't know how many cases there are. That's why we still have our tip lines. That's why we're still partnering with our neighboring agencies. That's why we still have this incredible all-star team of a task force, just so we can overturn every stone and see what we have out there.
Between the ballistics testing connected to the 3 cases and the gun the defendant had when he was arrested, do we have an estimate of how many weapons this defendant was using, or at least how many weapons?
That's part of the ongoing investigation.
Is there any reason to believe that there are any other suspects out there? You guys say you guys want the community to keep giving tips. Is there anyone out there that people should be afraid of?
We have absolutely no reason to believe that there's anyone out there that you should fear in regards to these cases, but we do want the tips out because we know there's people that know information about incidents that happen, and we need those people to come forward.
Chief, yesterday the fact that he was a truck driver.
We're going to stop here. Thank you guys so much for your questions. Go ahead, you guys, right out this door. Thank you. I have my car.
You were just listening in there as the District Attorney of San Joaquin County there in Northern California providing an update on this current arrest and the charges being filed there against Wesley Brownlee. You heard just 3 charges so far, but they have no doubt that they do have this killer apprehended there, and it was in court for the first time today, getting arraigned there, and they will likely bring more charges against them as he killed those accused of killing 6 people and injuring 1 more. And they talk about the ballistics and the evidence that they have ascertained from this investigation over many months. And we're also learning new details about Wesley Brownlee and his background, including from our Fox 2 associates. We know now that the brother of the accused serial killer died from gun violence in Oakland years ago. KTVU, our Fox 2 associate, Brooks Warrose, shows us the records last night before these charges were filed, has that history of criminal activity tied to this suspect now that has been charged with those 3 counts in this case.
Was caught with a mask and gun Saturday. Stockton police say he was searching for an 8th victim.
He was on a mission to kill. He was out hunting.
The alleged serial killer is accused of taking 6 lives. 5 men shot dead in Stockton, 1 in Oakland, and linked to another Stockton shooting where a woman survived.
The suspect's reign of terror in our community has come to an end.
Court records shed light on Brownlee's life, one of his mother's 6 children. He was born in San Francisco but grew up in Oakland on Seminary Avenue, just blocks from where victim Miguel Vazquez Serrano was gunned down last year, leaving the family distraught.
Whoever did it doesn't know how painful this is and how painful this is for my mom.
Brownlee's criminal history dates back decades. In 1994, at age 14, he was accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl along with 2 other boys. Later that year, records show he sold cocaine to an undercover officer. Then in 1995, his brother Dale Brownlee was shot and killed. A probation report says Wesley became depressed and distressed. His mother said she wanted him in therapy and also said he's mentally slow and learning disabled. Brownlee never graduated high school and was suspended once for gambling. In 1997, he was arrested and charged for having a large amount of crack cocaine. He was 18 and sentenced to 2 years in prison. Once he was out, Brownlee was living with his mother in Stockton. But in 2014, he was accused again in Alameda County of selling crack cocaine, this time on East 16th Street, and right near where his brother was killed nearly 2 decades earlier. He pleaded no contest, served some jail time and 3 years probation. It would be a few years later when the killings began. Investigators say all of the victims are linked through ballistics, and based on tips and surveillance video, police say Brownlee is responsible, claiming he was armed and ready to do it again.
We are sure we stopped another killing.
Brownlee is in San Joaquin County Jail. He has not yet been charged. He's expected to be in court to face murder charges tomorrow. In the newsroom, Brooks Jarose, KTVU Fox 2 News.
Thank you very much, Brooks Jarose, there for that latest report. Of course, he was in court today, like Brooks just said, and he was charged with those 3 counts so far. The DA in San Joaquin County there in Northern California said that could potentially have more charges coming up here in the next few days and weeks as we continue to follow that.